Welcome back to the channel The Coin Empire, the place where everyday pocket change can turn into a hidden treasure worth millions. And today we are diving into one of the most surprising stories in the world of rare coins, a story that proves that even a small 5-cent coin could potentially be worth an astonishing $86 million if it carries the right combination of rare minting errors, unusual characteristics, and collector demand. And the coin we are talking about today is the 1990 65-cent coin, commonly known as the Jefferson nickel, a coin that millions of people have handled without giving it a second thought, but which may hold incredible value if it contains certain rare mistakes made during the minting process at the United States Mint in the city of Denver, where the small letter D mint mark on the coin identifies that it was struck for circulation. And while most of these coins are only worth their face value of 5 cents, collectors know that sometimes a small error during production can transform an ordinary coin into an extraordinary numismatic treasure worth more than luxury homes, rare artwork, or even entire businesses, and the possibility of a rare 1996 D nickel becoming worth tens of millions begins with understanding how coins are made and how errors can occur during the process. Because every coin starts its life as a simple blank metal disc known as a planchet that is fed into massive coining presses where engraved dies stamp the designs onto the metal with incredible pressure, creating the familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front and the historic building Monticello on the reverse. But if anything goes wrong in that process, even for a fraction of a second, the result can be a mint error that collectors search for around the world. And one of the most valuable possibilities for the 1996 D nickel is the presence of a dramatic double die error where the design appears to be stamped twice slightly out of alignment, creating visible doubling on the lettering, numbers, or even Jefferson's facial features. And these double die coins are extremely desirable because they represent mistakes made during the creation of the die itself rather than simple damage after the coin leaves the mint, meaning every coin struck with that die carries the same rare characteristic. And if an undiscovered dramatic double die variety of the 1996 D nickel were to be confirmed, it could instantly become one of the most famous modern coin errors ever discovered, sending collectors into a frenzy and potentially pushing its value toward the incredible $86 million range due to rarity, publicity, and intense bidding competition among wealthy numismatists. But that is not the only possible error that could create such enormous value, because collectors also search carefully for off-center strikes where the coin was not properly positioned during minting, causing part of the design to be missing while still showing the date and mint mark. And dramatic off-center coins with high visibility can sell for massive premiums, especially if they remain in uncirculated condition with sharp details and original luster preserved since the day they left the mint. And another fascinating possibility is the presence of a broad strike error where the retaining collar that normally keeps the coin perfectly round fails during the strike, allowing the metal to expand outward, creating a larger than normal coin with distorted edges, something that immediately captures the attention of collectors who understand how rare it is for such an error to escape the strict quality control procedures of the United States Mint. But the story becomes even more exciting when we consider the possibility of a wrong planchet error where a nickel design might accidentally be struck on a blank intended for another denomination, such as a dime, or even a foreign coin blank, creating a coin with the wrong size, weight, or metal composition. And these wrong planchet coins are among the most dramatic and valuable minting mistakes because they clearly show that something extraordinary happened inside the minting facility. And when such coins appear, they often make headlines across the numismatic world as collectors compete fiercely to add them to their collections, pushing prices higher and higher until the final auction hammer falls. And the year 1996 is particularly interesting for collectors because the mint produced hundreds of millions of nickels during that time to satisfy circulation demand across the United States, meaning there were countless opportunities for unusual errors to occur somewhere along the production line. And while the vast majority of coins passed inspection without problems, history has shown that a few remarkable mistakes can slip through unnoticed, entering circulation and traveling through countless hands before someone finally notices that the coin in their pocket change is not ordinary at all. And many of the greatest coin discoveries in history have happened exactly that way, with collectors or even ordinary people finding rare pieces and rolls of coins from banks, old piggy banks, or forgotten jars of spare change. Which is why the idea that a 1990 60 nickel could be worth $86 million captures the imagination of people everywhere, because it suggests that hidden wealth might still be waiting to be discovered in the most unexpected places, and beyond. Major striking errors. Collectors also pay attention to subtle varieties such as repunched mint marks, where the letter D appears slightly doubled due to multiple attempts to punch the mint mark into the die, as well as die cracks, die clashes, and cuts which occur when pieces of the die break away, leaving raised blobs of metal on the coin's surface. Each of these features telling a small part of the story about what happened inside the minting press at the moment the coin was created, and when several unusual characteristics appear together on a single coin, the rarity multiplies dramatically, making it possible for the coin to become a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that collectors and museums would eagerly pursue regardless of price. And condition also plays a crucial role in determining value, because coins that remain in pristine mint state condition with no wear from circulation are far more desirable than coins that have spent decades rubbing against other coins in pockets and cash registers. And professional grading companies evaluate these coins under powerful magnification, assigning grades that range from heavily worn to perfect mint state examples. And a high-grade coin with a spectacular error could reach unimaginable values, especially if it becomes widely known as the finest, or only known example of its type. And collectors around the world are constantly searching for these rare pieces, because numismatics is not just about money but also about history, craftsmanship, and the excitement of discovery. And the Jefferson nickel series itself has a long tradition of collectible varieties dating back to its introduction in 1938. Making it one of the most studied and beloved coin series among enthusiasts. So when a coin like the 1990 60 nickel enters the spotlight with rumors of rare errors and enormous potential value, it naturally attracts the attention of experts, investors, and treasure hunters alike, all wondering whether somewhere out there a small 5-cent coin sits unnoticed, waiting to rewrite the record books. And while the idea of an $86 million nickel may sound unbelievable, it reflects the extraordinary reality of the rare coin market, where unique pieces have sold for astonishing amounts simply because collectors recognize their historical importance and scarcity. And every year new discoveries remind us that the next great treasure might still be hidden in circulation or tucked away in a forgotten collection. Which is why examining coins carefully has become a fascinating hobby for millions of people who enjoy the thrill of possibly finding something extraordinary. So the next time you receive change or open a roll of nickels, remember the story of the 1990 65-cent coin and the incredible possibilities that a simple minting mistake can create. Because somewhere out there a tiny piece of metal bearing the image of Thomas Jefferson and the Monticello estate might carry the rare combination of errors that transforms it from ordinary pocket change into one of the most valuable coins ever imagined. And that is exactly why collectors keep searching, learning, and exploring the world of coins every single day, hoping that the next incredible discovery will appear in their hands and prove once again that even the smallest coin can hold a fortune beyond imagination. Next, 2012 P5-cent coin. Today we are exploring the fascinating mystery surrounding the 2012 P5-cent coin, a modern Jefferson nickel that at first glance looks like an ordinary coin used by millions of people every day, but which in rare circumstances could potentially reach a staggering value of $83 million because of extraordinary minting errors, rare production mistakes, and unique circumstances that collectors around the world search for with incredible excitement. And this particular coin was struck at the historic United States Mint facility in Philadelphia, which is represented by the small letter P mint mark on the coin. And while the mint produces hundreds of millions of nickels every year to keep circulation flowing across the country, the complex process of coin manufacturing means that sometimes unexpected mistakes occur that can transform a common coin into one of the most desirable collectibles in the entire numismatic world. And the design of the modern nickel itself carries historical significance because it features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front and the image of his historic home Monticello on the reverse, a design that has been admired by collectors for generations. Yet despite the familiar appearance of the Jefferson nickel series, the possibility of rare mint errors keeps collectors examining every detail of these coins under magnification, hoping to discover something extraordinary that slipped past the mint's strict inspection process. And the reason that a 2012p nickel could theoretically reach the incredible value of $83 million begins with understanding how rare and dramatic minting errors can become when several unusual circumstances happen at the same time during production. Because each coin begins as a blank metal disc known as a planchet made from a special copper-nickel alloy, and when that blank enters the powerful coining press, it is struck by engraved dies that transfer the designs onto the metal with tremendous pressure. But if the dies themselves are flawed, or if the blank is not positioned correctly, or if the machinery experiences even the smallest malfunction, the result can be an error coin unlike anything collectors have ever seen before. And one of the most famous possibilities that collectors search for is a dramatic double die error, which occurs when the die used to stamp the coin receives a doubled impression during its creation, causing all coins struck from that die to show clear doubling on letters, numbers, or design elements. And if such a dramatic double die variety existed for the 2012p nickel with strong visible doubling in areas like the word Liberty, the date, or the lettering on the reverse, it would instantly become one of the most talked about discoveries in modern coin collecting history, because double die coins are extremely desirable due to their rarity and the fascinating story behind how they are created during the die making process rather than during the striking of individual coins. And collectors are willing to pay enormous amounts for coins with this kind of dramatic mint error, especially when the doubling is strong enough to be seen without magnification, and when the coin is preserved in pristine mint state condition with full luster and sharp details. But double dies are only one of many possible errors that could create a multi-million-dollar nickel, because the coin production process contains many steps where unusual mistakes can occur. For example, an off-center strike can happen when the planchet is not properly aligned within the collar that normally holds the coin in place during the strike, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing while another portion remains clearly visible. And these off-center errors become especially valuable when the date and mint mark are still visible, because collectors can identify exactly which year and mint produced the coin, and when an off-center error is dramatic enough, it can create a coin that looks unlike anything else in circulation, making it instantly recognizable as a rare minting mistake. And another fascinating possibility is the broad strike error, where the retaining collar fails entirely, allowing the metal of the planchet to spread outward under pressure, creating a larger than normal coin with distorted edges. Something that is extremely unusual, because modern minting equipment is designed to prevent such errors from happening, yet history has shown that even the most advanced machinery can occasionally produce mistakes that escape detection, and collectors also pay very close attention to the possibility of a wrong planchet error, which occurs when the design intended for a nickel is accidentally struck on a metal blank meant for a completely different coin denomination, or even a foreign coin, producing a coin with the wrong weight, diameter, or metallic composition. And these wrong planchet errors are among the most dramatic and valuable mint mistakes ever discovered, because they clearly demonstrate that an unexpected mix-up occurred somewhere in the minting process. And when such coins appear at auction, they often create intense bidding wars among collectors who understand that these pieces represent unique moments in mint history that may never happen again. And the excitement surrounding the 2012p nickel also comes from the fact that modern coins are produced in such enormous quantities that even extremely rare errors might still be waiting undiscovered somewhere in circulation, or in a forgotten coin jar sitting on a shelf. And many legendary coin discoveries have happened in exactly that way, when ordinary people decided to take a closer look at their spare change and suddenly realized that one of their coins looked unusual. Which is why coin collectors always recommend examining nickels carefully, especially those that appear shiny, unusual, or different from the others in a roll, because even small details such as die cracks, die clashes, or repunched mint marks can signal the presence of a rare variety. And die cracks occur when the die used to strike coins begins to fracture under repeated pressure, leaving raised lines of metal on the coins it produces, while die clashes happen when the obverse and reverse dies accidentally strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring parts of each design onto the opposite die. And when coins are later struck with those damaged dies, they display strange, ghost-like design elements that collectors find fascinating, because they reveal the hidden story of what happened inside the minting press during production. And another feature collectors search for is the presence of cuds, which appear when a piece of the die breaks off, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin where the design should normally be. And while small die cracks may only increase a coin's value slightly, large dramatic cuts can make a coin highly collectible, especially if the error is large enough to change the appearance of the coin dramatically. And in the rare case where multiple errors appear on the same coin, such as a double die combined with an off-center strike, or a major die break, the value could skyrocket because the coin becomes a one-of-a-kind piece that collectors may never see again. And this combination of rarity, condition, and historical interest is exactly what drives coin values into the millions as collectors compete fiercely to own the most unusual and famous pieces ever produced. And another factor that can push the value of a coin toward extraordinary levels is publicity, because when a rare discovery becomes widely known, it can attract attention not only from collectors but also from investors, museums, and historians who recognize the significance of preserving such a remarkable piece of mint history. And if a unique 2012 p nickel with an unprecedented error were to appear, it could quickly become the centerpiece of the numismatic world, appearing in magazines, auctions, exhibitions, and online discussions as experts analyze every detail of the coin and debate exactly how the error occurred and how many similar coins might exist. And sometimes the answer to that last question is none at all, because certain mint errors happen only once, making the coin truly unique, which is one of the most powerful factors driving extreme value in the coin collecting world. And when collectors realize that a coin may be the only known example of its type, they are often willing to pay almost any price to secure it for their collection, knowing that the opportunity may never appear again. And the modern Jefferson nickel series continues to fascinate collectors precisely because these coins are still being used in everyday commerce, meaning new discoveries remain possible at any time. And while most people never think twice about the nickels they receive in change, collectors know that hidden among those coins could be rare varieties worth thousands or even millions of dollars if the right error is present. And professional grading companies also play an important role in confirming and authenticating rare coins by carefully examining them under magnification, measuring their weight and composition, and assigning them official grades that indicate their level of preservation. Next, 2003 p 5-cent coin. Today we are exploring one of the most fascinating possibilities in modern coin collecting, the mysterious case of the 2003 p 5-cent coin. A Jefferson nickel that most people would never think twice about, but which under extremely rare circumstances could reach an astonishing value of $80 million because of unique minting errors, unusual production mistakes, and rare varieties that collectors dream of discovering. And this coin was struck at the historic United States Mint facility located in Philadelphia, which is why the coin carries the small p mint mark. And while the mint produced hundreds of millions of nickels during 2003 for circulation across the United States, the fascinating reality of coin production is that even with advanced technology and strict quality control, it is still possible for unexpected mistakes to occur during the minting process. And sometimes those mistakes slip through inspection and enter circulation, where they remain unnoticed for years until a careful collector finally spots something unusual. And the design of the Jefferson nickel itself has become one of the most recognizable in American coinage, because the obverse side features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson, while the reverse shows his famous Virginia home Monticello. Yet despite this familiar appearance, collectors know that hidden among millions of ordinary coins there can sometimes be extraordinary examples created by rare errors during the minting process. And when such a coin is discovered, it can instantly become the center of attention in the world of numismatics, because collectors understand that each mint error represents a unique moment when something unusual happened inside the coining press, turning a normal piece of currency into a historical artifact that tells the story of that brief moment of imperfection in the production line. And the reason that a 2003 p nickel could potentially reach a value as high as $80 million begins with the possibility of extremely rare minting errors, such as the famous double die variety, which occurs when the die used to strike coins receives more than one impression during its creation, causing the design elements on the finished coins to appear doubled. And this doubling can sometimes be seen on the date, lettering, or portrait details, creating a dramatic visual effect that collectors immediately recognize as a major minting error. And if a strong, previously unknown double die variety of the 2003 p nickel were ever discovered, it could attract enormous attention from collectors around the world, especially if the doubling were bold and easily visible without magnification, because dramatic double dies are among the most desirable error coins and have historically sold for extremely high prices when only a few examples exist. And beyond double dies, collectors also search carefully for off-center strikes which occur when the blank planchet is not perfectly positioned in the striking chamber of the coining press, causing the design to be stamped partially off the edge of the coin, leaving a large blank area where metal should have been struck. And off-center coins become especially valuable when the date and mint mark remain visible, because this allows collectors to identify the exact origin of the coin while still enjoying the dramatic appearance of the error. And another possible error that could transform a 2003p nickel into an incredibly valuable collectible is the broad strike error, which happens when the collar that normally holds the coin in place during striking fails to function properly, allowing the metal to spread outward under pressure, creating a coin that is larger than normal with flattened or missing edges. And although modern minting equipment is designed to prevent such errors, they have still occurred occasionally throughout history, proving that even highly controlled industrial processes can produce unexpected results, and collectors are also fascinated by wrong planchet errors which occur when the design of one coin is accidentally struck on a metal blank intended for a completely different denomination, or sometimes even a blank intended for a foreign coin, producing a coin with unusual weight, diameter, or metallic composition that immediately signals that something extraordinary happened during the minting process. And these wrong planchet coins are among the most dramatic minting mistakes ever discovered, because they clearly reveal that a blank intended for one purpose somehow entered the wrong production line. And when such coins appear at auction, they often attract intense bidding from collectors who recognize their rarity and historical significance. And in the case of a 2003p nickel struck on a wrong planchet, such as a dime planchet or an experimental alloy blank, the coin could become one of the most famous modern mint errors ever discovered, potentially pushing its value toward the incredible $80 million level due to global collector demand. And another fascinating category of errors that collectors watch for includes die cracks and die breaks, which occur when the steel dies used to strike coins begin to wear out or fracture after striking thousands of planchets under extreme pressure. And when a crack develops in a die, it leaves raised lines on the coins produced afterward, while a larger break can create a raised lump of metal known as a cud, where part of the die has broken away completely. And these features provide valuable clues about the life cycle of the die used to strike the coin, and allow collectors to trace the progression of the damage over time as more coins are struck. And sometimes very large dramatic cuds can form near the rim of the coin, creating unusual shapes that partially cover design elements, which makes those coins especially attractive to error collectors who enjoy studying the mechanical stories behind these production mistakes. And another unusual possibility involves die clash errors, which occur when the obverse and reverse dies accidentally strike each other without a planchet between them, leaving faint mirror images of each design on the opposite die surfaces. And when coins are later struck with those damaged dies, they can display ghost-like outlines of design elements where they should not appear, creating a fascinating visual puzzle that collectors enjoy analyzing under magnification. And when several types of errors appear on the same coin, such as a die clash combined with a double die or a large die break, the rarity increases dramatically, because the coin represents a combination of unusual events that rarely happen together during production. And this rarity is exactly what drives collectors to pay enormous prices for certain coins, because the value of a rare coin is determined not only by the metal it contains but also by the uniqueness of its story and the excitement it creates within the collecting community. And condition is another critical factor, because coins that remain in pristine mint state condition without wear from circulation are far more valuable than those that have spent years in pockets and cash registers. And professional grading companies carefully evaluate coins using powerful magnification and precise measurements, assigning them numerical grades that reflect their level of preservation. And when a coin combines a spectacular mint error with a high grade such as near perfect mint state, it can become the centerpiece of major collections, attracting worldwide attention and sometimes record-breaking auction results. And publicity also plays a powerful role in determining how high a coin's value can climb, because once a rare discovery becomes widely known, collectors, investors, and museums all become interested in acquiring it, which can lead to fierce bidding wars at auction houses where the final price climbs higher and higher as determined buyers compete for ownership. And This is why the story of a potentially $80 million 2003 P nickel captures the imagination of so many people, because it reminds us that extraordinary treasures can sometimes hide in the most ordinary places, including jars of spare change, old coin rolls from the bank, or forgotten collections inherited from family members. And many famous coin discoveries in history have happened exactly this way, when someone took the time to examine their coins carefully and noticed something unusual about the date, lettering, weight, or overall appearance. And that moment of curiosity led to the discovery of a rare variety that changed the value of the coin forever. And the Jefferson nickel series continues to be one of the most studied coin series in American numismatics, precisely because these coins remain common in circulation, meaning new discoveries are always possible even decades after the coins were first minted. And collectors young and old enjoy searching through rolls of nickels, looking for unusual features that might signal the presence of a rare minting error or previously unknown variety. And although the chances of finding an $80 million coin are extremely small, the excitement of that possibility keeps the hobby alive and thriving around the world. And every new discovery adds another chapter to the long and fascinating history of coin collecting. Last 2015 P5 cent coin. Today we are diving into the fascinating mystery of the 2015 P5 cent coin, a modern Jefferson nickel that most people see as nothing more than ordinary pocket change, but which under the right circumstances could potentially reach an unbelievable value of $78 million because of rare minting errors, unusual production mistakes, and extraordinary circumstances that make collectors across the world pay enormous attention to even the smallest details on a coin. And this particular coin was produced by the historic United States Mint at its well-known facility in Philadelphia, which is why the coin carries the P Mint mark. And every year the Mint produces hundreds of millions of nickels to supply circulation throughout the country. Yet despite advanced machinery and strict quality control systems, there are rare moments when something unexpected happens during the minting process. And those moments of imperfection can transform a simple 5-cent coin into a legendary collectible that attracts the attention of collectors, investors, historians, and treasure hunters. And the Jefferson nickel itself has a long and interesting history because it features the portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the front of the coin, while the reverse side shows the famous estate known as Monticello. A design that has been admired by collectors for generations and that represents an important part of American history. Yet what makes a specific coin like the 2015 P nickel potentially worth $78 million is not simply its design, but the possibility that an extraordinary combination of mint errors occurred when it was created. Because coins are produced through a complex process that begins with metal blanks called planchets, which are cut from large sheets of copper-nickel alloy, and then fed into powerful presses where engraved steel dies strike the designs onto the metal with enormous pressure. And if any part of this process goes wrong, even for a fraction of a second, the result can be a mint error that leaves a permanent mark on the coin, creating a rare and sometimes unique collectible that tells the story of that brief moment when the minting machinery did something unexpected. And one of the most famous and valuable mint errors that collectors search for is the double die error, which occurs when the die used to strike coins receives more than one impression during the die creation process, causing the final coins struck by that die to display noticeable doubling on design elements such as letters, numbers, or parts of the portrait. And if a strong, previously undiscovered double die variety were found on the 2015 P nickel with clear doubling visible in areas like the word Liberty, the date, or the lettering around Monticello, it could immediately become one of the most talked about discoveries in modern numismatics, because collectors know that dramatic double die coins are extremely rare and highly prized, especially when the doubling is strong enough to be seen without magnification, and when the coin remains in pristine mint condition. But double dies are only one of many possible errors that could give the 2015 P nickel extraordinary value, because collectors also search for off-center strikes which occur when the planchet is not properly aligned in the striking chamber of the coin press, resulting in a coin where part of the design is missing while another part is clearly visible. And these off-center coins can be incredibly valuable when the date and mint mark remain visible, because they allow collectors to identify exactly when and where the coin was struck while still displaying the dramatic appearance of the error. And another fascinating possibility involves the broad strike error, which happens when the collar that normally surrounds the coin during the striking process fails to hold the planchet in place, allowing the metal to spread outward under pressure, creating a coin that is larger than normal, with distorted edges and unusual proportions. And although modern minting equipment is designed to prevent such errors, they have occasionally occurred throughout history, proving that even the most advanced technology cannot completely eliminate the chance of rare production mistakes. And collectors also keep a close eye out for wrong planchet errors, which occur when a coin design is accidentally struck on a metal blank intended for another denomination, or even a blank meant for a foreign coin, producing a coin with an unusual weight, size, or metal composition that immediately signals that something unusual happened inside the mint. And these wrong planchet coins are among the most dramatic mint errors ever discovered, because they clearly reveal a mix-up in the production line, and when such coins appear at auction, they often attract intense bidding from collectors who understand their rarity and historical significance. And if a 2015 P nickel were ever discovered struck on an unusual planchet such as a dime blank or an experimental alloy blank, it could quickly become one of the most famous modern mint errors known to collectors, potentially pushing its value toward the incredible $78 million level as collectors compete to own such a remarkable piece of mint history. And beyond these major errors, there are many smaller but still fascinating varieties that collectors study carefully, including die cracks, which occur when the steel die used to strike coins begins to fracture after striking thousands of planchets under extreme pressure, leaving raised lines on the coins produced afterward. And in some cases the crack can grow larger, creating a die break or cut where a piece of the die actually breaks away, leaving a raised blob of metal on the coin where part of the design should normally appear. And while small die cracks may only increase a coin's value slightly, large dramatic cuts can make a coin highly desirable to collectors, especially when they create unusual shapes along the rim or partially cover design elements. And another interesting minting mistake involves die clash errors, which occur when the obverse and reverse dies accidentally strike each other without a planchet between them, transferring parts of each design onto the opposite die surfaces, so that later coins struck with those dies show faint outlines of design elements where they should not appear, creating strange ghost-like images that collectors enjoy analyzing, because they reveal the hidden story of what happened during the minting process. And sometimes a single coin can display several different types of errors at once, such as a double die combined with a die crack or an off-center strike combined with a broad strike. And when such unusual combinations occur, the rarity of the coin increases dramatically, because it represents a series of rare events that happen together during production. And rarity is one of the most powerful forces driving value in the coin collecting world, because collectors are always searching for pieces that stand out from the millions of ordinary coins produced each year. And when a coin is discovered that appears to be unique, or nearly unique, it can quickly attract global attention from collectors, museums, and investors who understand that opportunities to own such coins are extremely rare. And condition also plays a crucial role in determining value, because coins that remain in mint state condition with their original luster and sharp details intact are far more desirable than coins that have spent years in circulation becoming worn and scratched. And professional grading companies carefully examine rare coins under powerful magnification, assigning them numerical grades that indicate their level of preservation and authenticity. And when a spectacular mint error is combined with an exceptionally high grade, the value of the coin can increase dramatically, because collectors want the finest possible examples for their collections. And publicity can also push prices to extraordinary levels, because once a rare discovery becomes widely known, it generates excitement across the numismatic world, leading to intense competition whenever the coin appears for sale. And this combination of rarity, condition, and historical interest is exactly what could allow a 2015 P nickel with a remarkable mint error to reach the astonishing value of $78 million in the right circumstances. And stories like this capture the imagination of collectors and everyday people alike, because they remind us that incredible discoveries can still be waiting in the most ordinary places, such as coin rolls from the bank jars of spare change or forgotten collections stored away in drawers and boxes. And throughout history, many famous coins have been discovered in exactly these ways, when someone decided to take a closer look at their change and noticed something unusual about a coin's design, weight, or appearance. and that moment of curiosity led to the discovery of a rare variety that changed the coin's value forever. And the Jefferson nickel series continues to be especially popular among collectors because these coins are still widely circulated, meaning that new discoveries remain possible even years after the coins were minted. And people across the world enjoy searching through rolls of nickels hoping to find a rare error that others have overlooked.